We were put on this persistently dangerous list because of so many incidents in the school. I think at one particular year we had 34 kids from Rikers that were brought in. Well, if you're going to bring all these kids in who are special needs kids to begin with, and you're not going to give us any resources to help these kids improve themselves and get a better education, the only thing they're going to turn to is what they're used to doing, which got them in trouble in the first place. Aside from that, I mean, we were off the list 6 months after we got put on it. There was no letter sent to anybody saying that, the school is much improved, no longer persistently dangerous. It hurts when you go to high school fairs to try and recruit people and they look at you like, I'm not sending my kid there. Every once in a while, and it hurts even worse, you get someone who graduated from Jamaica, they're there looking for high school and they go, oh, I can't send my kid there. And I look at them, I go, but you went there. And they're like, yeah, but with all the news I've heard, I can't send my kid there. And I look at them and say, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the school. But there's obviously a bigger plan that's been going on for a longer time with the DOE, and part of it is probably because of everyone trying to push for these small schools. The only problem is funding through the city or the state or federal aid couldn't be used to build facilities for these small schools. So what do they have to do? They have to find large schools that they can break up into smaller schools so that it looks like they're increasing the number of schools in the city, when in reality it's really one building with 4 schools in it. So, you know what? Maybe we'll be the last of the big schools that gets broken up, but it's just not justified.
I never thought that this would actually happen to us. In a way, I guess I've been in denial. We started out with about 20 to 24 kids in a class, and we had a para, sometimes more than one para in the classroom. Paras were like an assistant. They would walk around the room, make sure everyone was on task, sometimes help the students one-on-one. Slowly, everything was taken away from us. We have no paras. Our class cap now is 34. I just feel that throughout the years, instead of things getting better, they've just gotten worse. And I feel that I'm under much more stress to perform. When I say perform, I mean show that my numbers are up, and that's all they're looking at is data, numbers, and it really doesn't mean anything. I was just telling Ms. Ruiz before that I feel that from this September till now, I see an improvement in the majority of kids that I have this year, and it's very difficult for me to prove that in numbers. Most students are very worried as to where they're going to go, especially the newcomers. They are not aware of the ins and outs of the school system. Their parents don't speak any English. There really is no one to speak on their behalf. They feel, in a way, betrayed because they came here thinking that they're in a place where these things don't happen. That's why they're here in the first place, where everything is done fairly. They love to use the word justice. And now they see that something is happening here that they didn't expect. This is something that happens in their native country, not something that happens here.
I was born in Argentina. I was raised in the United States. I came to America when I was in the 4th grade. All my experiences as an immigrant, everything I experienced learning a new language, I integrate in my classroom every day. A lot of our students did not go to school in their country. They're not only facing academic challenges, they're facing social skill challenges, they're facing culture shock, not only to a new country, but school culture. They're not used to the environment of a school. We provide for our children all the ESL services they need. They have content area in Spanish just for Hispanic students. Then they have ESL math, they have ESL science, and in that biology or earth science, whatever sciences it may be, and social studies. Now we have tutoring for the regents. The children that are scheduled to take the English Regents exam, they don't get a special exam, they get the exam like everybody else does, and they're expected to pass it. Surprisingly, a lot of them do pass. Some of them even get a higher grade than the mainstream students, but proficiency doesn't happen unless they're here 5 to 7 years, and sometimes people fail to see that. Where are kids going to go? Hillcrest High School is packed. Van Buren is packed. Edison is a special school. You have to have an entrance exam to go there. I didn't have ESL classes way back then, but I remember crying over books, feeling like I was very stupid, and I knew I wasn't. I just didn't know the language. So I know what it is to work hard to become what you are. I feel for these children. I think we have to help them. It is our obligation, a human obligation.
Dealing with a child who is openly accessible to education and has a literate background, will be successful, and I wish them every success. But that is not the population of students that attends this school as a public high school. And we have children with, very wide reading levels who are still supposed to pass the Regents. And we already are a small learning community. We have expanded what we do to the general ed population and the students that we call at risk, which is usually basically a child who's 17 years old and has 10 or less credits. We have worked with the guidance counselors, and we've offered them this co-op tech, which is more of a hands-on education, because not every single student is an academic learner. There are kids who need to touch, to be able to stand up in the room, to be able to move around, who function better when they're making something or hearing something. We'll see a student who has been here for 3 years, has 10 credits, is doing squat in their classroom. Then, what would you think about going to co-op tech? You'll be here in the morning, you'll go to a trade school in the afternoon. Some of these children just flourish. All of a sudden, it's like the lights went on, because then their education in the morning is meaningful to them. Now, if they close the school, what's going to happen to these kids? Honestly, I have no clue. We have not been invited to sit down and plan with these people who are sitting behind the closed doors, who may have the best intentions. But the reality is, if they came to this school and saw the students that we work with, I think they might have a little bit of an eye-opener. And I would think and hope that it would make them think twice about what they're doing. Because there are a lot of students who are going to be left behind, and that is not right. Maybe because I am a special ed teacher, I was taught we have to teach every single child. But what I can teach Johnny's not going to be the same thing that I can teach Jill. And that doesn't mean, Jill isn't a success because she's on a second grade reading level. She can still have a very successful life, and we can help give that to her, and we do help give that to her. We care immensely. We are a second family to these kids. We are a lot of structure to their day. I sense that the schools they're talking about bringing into Jamaica High School are more, academic schools.
So the kids who graduate this year will graduate, the kids who graduate next year will graduate, and the kids who graduate the third year will graduate. And those stragglers are the kids who are in trouble. And I wish I knew what would happen. I fear for them, because they're the kids who will be without a place to be. And they will send them. They say they're not going to turn their back on students, but they're not going to be taken here because they'll be sent somewhere else. And I don't know where that is. And I think it's terribly unfair. And it's unfair for the next group of kids who are just like these kids. They belong here, and we take them. And, neighborhood schools, that's what we've always done. The rallies that have gone on express, I think, very well the dilemma that people from Jamaica High School are having with the closure, and the support that they're giving us, past students, past teachers, people from the community. The support they've given us is real. And whether or not the powers that be hear this message, I don't know, because they have a plan in their head, and I think they want to act out that plan. The fact that I don't agree with it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just I'm not alone. And I don't know if the people out there who are making this decision are really listening to people who have been in education. I'm in education 25 years. I went through public school. I went to a local high school. It's my first high school, and it will be my last high school. What we do is meaningful. And if it takes a kid 5 years to graduate, we're standing by that kid for those 5 years. I'm not leaving. I'm staying till they tell me I have to retire. And if they don't want me here, which at 25 years, most of these little schools don't want me here, I'm not ready to go. So they're going to have to place me somewhere, or I'm supposed to find myself a job. I'm not doing that either. I'm going to retire from Jamaica High School.